Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and welcome to another Hypixel SkyBlock tutorial. And today I'm going to be showing off a whole bunch more items that got wrecked by updates. This is a part 2 to a video I made like 8 months ago talking about outclassed items in Hypixel SkyBlock, and that's exactly what we're doing today. So all the items in this video are outclassed, which basically means that there are cheaper alternatives that are the same quality, if not better, for the purpose, or the item is just completely useless. First of all, I am extremely sad to announce that superior dragon armor is no longer the meta. I've done the damage comparison tests in videos before, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. Superior dragon armor is officially worse per shot damage. It's worse than Shadow Assassin, which is what I'm wearing right now. Ancient Shadow Assassin armor, very, very good. And it's, I think, half the price. Less than half the price. Well, actually, no. The chest plate is definitely not half the price, but 3/4 with zombie chest plate is half the price or less, maybe even a third of the price, and it still gets more damage. If you want proof, you should look up the video where I ended up doing that in my solo profile. It was the thing. You should look it up. But anyway, superior dragon armor was like that alongside strong. Actually, now that I think about it, wise and strong are the only two armor sets left that make any end island armors worth it. Ender armor's not terrible, but anyway, superior's out. It's not worth it anymore. If you ever end up getting one from a dragon, immediately sell it. Don't buy it. And I've heard from the guild that even 3/4 Skelly Master set with Tarantula helmet does more damage than superior. The 5% magic fine that it gives you is barely anything. It's not worth the like 60 mil that the set used to cost. I don't know what it costs nowadays, but yeah, not worth at all. Would not recommend superior dragon armor. And that being said, Frozen Blaze with Blaze Pet is also completely outdated, again replaced with Shadow Assassin armor, and I'm pretty sure the prices are close in this one. From what I remember, Frozen Blaze is pricey, and a Blaze Pet is even pricier. Even Werewolf and Tiger Pet actually does, with Livid Dagger, does similar amounts of DPS, and it's just, it makes more sense. There's actually an item I missed in the previous one, and that was Emerald Armor. It wasn't meta then, it's not meta now. You find it in, I think it's Emerald 9 collection. It's terrible. It's just, no. First of all, it's extremely expensive to craft, and basically, I think even Ender Armor surpasses this in how much health you get. It's just not worth it at all. Stay away from Emerald Armor. Another one I missed is the Leaping Sword. I mean, the Leaping Sword, again, is another one of those items that used to be good, but is now completely outclassed. As you can see, 150 damage, 100 strength. Even an AOTE, I know mine is warped, but imagine it wasn't warped. Even AOTE is better than Leaping Sword, I'm fairly certain. Even a regular AOTE is better. Would not recommend Leaping Sword. Tactician Sword, although it used to be one of my favorite swords in the game, not worth it anymore. Pigman Sword, they're all made useless because Aspect of the Dragons, I forgot to mention this, Aspect of the Dragons is extremely cheap. If I were to look up Aspect of the the lowest bin right now is 1.1 mil, and it does 225 damage and 100 strength, which immediately is better than, again, Leaping Sword, Tactician Sword, and Pigman Sword, which are now all useless. Completely outclassed for the price by AOTD. Unfortunate. Another one that we've kind of known for a while now is that Runan's Bow actually ends up doing less damage per shot than the Magma Bow. I don't have a Magma Bow to demonstrate that because I'm using a Spirit Bow, which is way more expensive. But anyway, the only reason why I carry one around is for dragon fights, but even then, Magma Bow is still better for dragon fights nowadays. And the reason why is because it doubles your damage with Magma Cream in your inventory. We all know this. I've said this 100 times. Magma Bow is super worth it. The multiplying of damage happens after all the other damage calculations, from what I understand, which is extremely powerful. And even the 3 arrows launched by a Runan's do not add up to the damage that a magma bow will do with a high combat level. So there you go. One that you might not have known is that the scorpion foil in Pooch Sword, especially Pooch Sword, is outclassed by the Livid Dagger. You can make the case that a scorpion foil does more damage, but right now there aren't that many spider bosses that are really powerful enough to warrant having something that overkill. A Livid Dagger will outclass the both of them while also being a good generalist sword. A Reaper Falchion still has a few other uses, but again, if you wanted to do tier 4 Slayers, you could easily do all of them with a Livid Dagger. You don't need any of these Slayer weapons. But again, Reaper Falchion has a different use. It outclasses a different item, believe it or not, but we'll get to that later. Well, actually, no, we'll get to it right now. I didn't realize it was the next one on the list. Anyway, the Reaper Falchion actually replaces Necromancer Sword in terms of stats. This one I can't really back up with too much evidence because I don't use it, but this is something the guild told me. So let's take a quick look. Necromancer Sword. How much do these sell for? 5 mil. Wow. In terms of raw damage, it looks like it's worse than just a straight up Reaper Falchion. The ability's cool, but it's a little gimmicky from what I can tell. There's a few dark auction items that were made completely useless, and by a few I mean like more than half of them. Anyways, the parapet is no longer required because god potions give you 24 hours of every potion effect in the game. Whoa! That's weird. That is weird. He showed up literally just as I randomly appeared here, dude. Anyways, Parapet completely useless because of God Pots. The reason why Parrot was good was because it would increase the duration of potions that you drank, but that does not apply to God Pots. And because of God Pots, you don't need any other potion in the game. So basically, Parapet's only useful if you're on an Iron Man profile and maybe you have a no cookies rule. Then that can still be useful, but otherwise no reason to have a parapet other than gear score right now. Turtle Pet was actually made obsolete because of the turtle shelmet. I only have an epic turtle, but the legendary one gives you anti-KB, whereas the turtle shelmet is an item that you can give to any pet and it will also provide you with anti-KB. Legendary Yeti Pet actually is outclassed by Epic Yeti Pet. Now, the reason for that is that the Epic Yeti can get to level 100 quicker because it is a lower rarity, and the only thing you're missing out on is extra damage on the Yeti sword, which is not meta right now. It's too expensive. It doesn't do enough damage to warrant anything. So yeah, Epic Yeti better than Legendary Yeti. I was reluctant to include this item on the list, but I decided to do it anyway, and that's the Frozen Scythe. It is an item that is quite infamous for being the thing that ruined the end. The lowest bin is 5.5 mil for one of these guys, and basically what it does is it shoots an ice bolt at your enemies, and people use it a lot in the end. I bet you if I just randomly queue a lobby, there's going to be some nerd using one. Maybe not. Anyway, the Frozen Scythe is completely, it's just not worth it anymore. If you're going to use it in dungeons, you might as well just use a Bonzo Staff until you can afford a Spirit Scepter, because spending 5.5 mil on something that's, you know, a precision weapon from a distance that barely does any damage, not worth. Zealots are a terrible money-making method nowadays. Like, farming is 100 times better. There is no reason to be farming Zealots in 2020 or 2021. I guess 2021 is coming up soon, but yeah, Frozen Scythe not worth the cost. And if you need it for dungeons, Spirit Scepter, just save for a Spirit Scepter. Don't waste your money. I'm actually using a Flower of Truth to do something fairly similar, and it's a way better weapon, but it sells for about twice as much, so I guess I can't really claim that this outclasses Frozen Scythe. But dang, dude, look at those numbers. 182,000 damage versus Frozen Scythe, where you can probably get like 30,000 or less. It's ridiculous. I heard it's okay for Slayers though, so technically if you need an alternative for Slayers, the Frozen Scythe will work, but why not just get one of these? It's a little bit more pricey, but it's a great general weapon instead of being divisive like the Frozen Scythe. The next one should be fairly obvious. This isn't technically outclassed by anything because it's just that bad. This is something you should not consider by any means, and that's the Daedalus axe. They are 20 million coins right now, and it's basically an upgraded raider axe. But the problem is, I think it's the handle, costs a ridiculous amount of coins. And the thing that makes it interesting, I guess, is that it gets +4 damage per taming level, and it copies the stats of your active pet. This could be used to manipulate magic find, but for 20 million coins, I mean, I guess it's better than the few hundred million it used to cost, but I don't know, man. It's a hard sell for me. I can't see much of a purpose, at least in the current meta, for a Daedalus axe. Again, nothing replaces it, because why would you even need to copy pet stats? It's just freaking weird. Speaking of copying pet stats, actually, Chimera. I would say it's even less worth it than Daedalus axe, actually by a lot. Because, well, I mean, look at these freaking prices. It's like 90, it's like 100 million per Chimera 1 book, which technically, I mean, at current market price is 100 mil. Jesus, dude. That's so many zeros. That's 1.6 bill for Chimera 5, which copies... It's an ultimate enchant that you put on a weapon, and it copies pet stats. Why would you ever do that? Not worth it all. If Daedalus axe is not worth it, then Chimera might as well not even exist. Okay, here's one that's actually a bit more useful for most people, and it's that Siphon. The new enchantment Siphon is a replacement for lifesteal. In like 99.9% of situations, it is better than lifesteal. Now, the reason for that is that Siphon gives you just it gives you more health than lifesteal. So if I look here, lifesteal gives 0.3% of the damage I deal, whereas Siphon, if I can find it, does 0.4% of the damage, but it's only on critical hits. Now, the thing is, in order to be good at Skyblock, you basically need to crit every single time. Now, the only time there's an exception to that is when you are a mage. If you're a mage using something like a Dreadlord sword or a Bonzo staff, then yeah, lifesteal. But in like every other scenario, Siphon's better. That being said, I might as well put Siphon on my AOTE. Yes. Another one that's actually kind of funny is that if you go on the auction house, I think right now Smite 6 is cheaper than Smite 5. Smite 6 is usually cheaper than Smite 5. It's stupid, but it's just because a lot of people get those books from Slayers and they don't really want them, so to just throw them on the auction house. So that's something to consider, I guess. So an enchantment's getting outclassed by a better version of itself. It's very weird. It's because you don't just randomly get Smite 5 books. I don't know, man. It's a weird mechanic. Here's another obvious one. Another dark auction item that got completely wrecked, and it's the Spirit Mask, which I don't think I have one in my setup here anymore. I used to have one in my wardrobe, but anyway, Spirit Mask completely outclassed by the Bonzo Mask. They both do a similar thing. Where can I find it? Where's my Spirit Mask? Here, wait. Could have sworn. There's a Bonzo's Mask. And what Bonzo's Mask does is it revives you once you die, as much as instead of dying, gain damage, immunity. Yeah. And it does the same exact thing. But anyway, yeah, you do not need... oh, here it is. Spirit Mask, yeah. Instead of dying, gain 50 speed. Which is really dumb. Much rather would have strength and fully replenishing your health. So yeah, Bonzo Mask is just a better version of the Spirit Mask. Here's another incredibly sad one for me to tell you, and it's that the Ender Dragon pet, which used to be the best pet in the game, is actually outclassed in all situations by the Griffin pet, which is 4 times cheaper to get level 100 legendary. Even Pigman, which is like 40 times cheaper legendary level 100. Tiger and Witherskelly. There's no reason to have a Ender Dragon pet unless you have money to burn, but all those other pets are literally better for damage per hit in every single situation. Another one that's really sad, basically the end got wrecked in recent times in the meta. Dragon scales and dragon horn completely outclassed by precursor gears. Precursor gears are a little inflated right now because my guild's investing in them because they know about this video coming out. They are supposed to be 200k, 200 to 400k. Anyway, precursor gears give the ancient reforge, which is right now the best all-around reforge for armor. It completely outclasses whatever dragon horn gave. I don't even remember. Dragon horn. And these cost 8.8 million. Oh, it gives renowned. That's right. But yeah, renowned is not. It is just worse than ancient, which is unfortunate because you can get a whole set on ancient for less than 2 mil. Meanwhile, to get a whole set on renowned, you need to spend like 34 mil, and it's worse. So that's a very obvious one. Another one is elephant pet being a complete replacement for rabbit. Why would you want to get farming 50 fast when you can get farming 50 at a similar speed, but also get like a ridiculous amount of money? Elephant pet all the way, dude. And I'm not even gonna make the case that, oh, it's more expensive, so it doesn't replace. No, it makes you so much money that the cost absolutely is worth. So sorry, rabbit. I would not recommend using a rabbit pet in any scenario other than collecting minions. I'm also gonna make a weird case here. I think elephant pet completely outclasses Enderman. Enderman pet's thing is that it increases the odds to find a special zealot, right? Which is basically, its express purpose is to make you money. Whereas the pet costs like 20 mil. Summoning eyes, you get like 2 an hour, maybe 3 an hour if you have this. Meanwhile, with elephant pet, it costs about 16 mil, so a similar amount. But if you get a high farming level, it's like farming 50, you can get 6 million coins an hour farming netherwort, which is the equivalent of, I don't know, man, what, 10 summoning eyes an hour? Which makes money like 3 times as fast as a legendary Enderman. So if you're getting a pet for the express purpose of making money, elephant's way better than Enderman. Here's another one. The Flower of Truth, in dungeons specifically, outclasses Livid Dagger. Now, I'm still going to make the case that Livid Dagger is a great weapon, and it should be regarded as one of the best weapons in this game. But technically, Flower of Truth is the way to go. Now, why is that? Well, if you were to have in dungeons a Yeti pet, you get defense for the amount of strength you have. Flower of Truth gives a ridiculous amount of strength, therefore a ridiculous amount of defense. Also, its ability, if I can demonstrate over here, ricochets to different mobs. And if you have Siphon or Lifesteal, which I have, then you get health from each of those ricochet kills. So in situations where you are clearing a room, you heal way faster and you stay alive for longer with the Flower of Truth. And it does a similar amount of damage to the Livid Dagger. Let me demonstrate. Let's say I smack a zombie with this. What was that? 123,000, 116,000 versus this. 121,000. Right? But again, the ability makes it ricochet and you can kill multiple things at once. So that would make, in dungeons at least, the Flower of Truth is better. Outside of dungeons, I would say that Livid Dagger is still better because of the 100% bonus attack speed and the backstab ability. This is a quick one. The Ink Wand is not worth it anymore. Nothing outclasses it. I mean, technically, Voodoo Doll, if you want to do damage with intelligence or mana, Voodoo Doll's the way to go. But trying to hit something with an Ink Wand, especially if it's moving really fast, let's say it's a Lost Adventure in dungeons, it's going to be tough to hit that thing with an Ink Wand. And you're probably going to miss and just waste a bunch of mana. And if you're fiddling around with like these mana items in your hotbar instead of just smacking it with your main weapon, for example, a Flower of Truth, you're doing something wrong. If you need the mage item to get the kill, then you're not strong enough to consistently kill that thing. So anyway, would not recommend spending the money on an ink wand. It's just not worth. You're overextending yourself if you need it. Anyways, that is it for this video, guys. This is an interesting look on, I guess, how the meta's changed over the past 8 months, and a lot of what used to be our best items are now useless, or it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's still good items, but the thing is, when you can get the, especially with the precursor gear, dude, like, you literally for like 1/16 of the price can get a better reforge in your entire armor set. Like, what the hell? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Also, once I'm not invisible anymore, you should get the new cloak, ThirtyVirus Liquid Cooled, available for a limited time in the Badline store. Link in the pinned comment. Well, anyways, I guess that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.